All right, boys, Diablo 4. I've been working on this Barrage build for weeks. I've been tweaking it. We've changed a ton of stuff. It's gone through so many changes, aspects, gear. Vulnerable damage is up to 400%. We knocked that down because it seems like around 200, 250. Nothing really more than that really matters. All this will be on D4 Planner. The link will be in the description, and then I will have the link in the pinned comment as well. At one point, our attack power is like 6,700. It's a very tanky build. You can stand and stuff and just explode everything. There are some things that are gonna wreck you. Lightning, for whatever reason, like when you're fighting elites and the lightning rods come out and that red orbs start going everywhere, hang it up. I've tried adding lightning resistance, fire resistance, shadow resistance. So the lightning, the wraiths, the freaking dumb ghost dudes that shoot arrows from off the screen, they one-shot you. And obviously poison. Everybody hates poison in this game because you literally have... I have 46% damage reduction on top of the other buffs I get. So the Dark Shroud, the other buffs, and then almost 12,000 life, and the poison still within a second drops all of that down to nothing, dead. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, man, this build is pretty freaking cool. I like it. So look, we have Shadow Imbuement, Cold Imbuement, Death Trap, Poison Trap, Dark Shroud, and Barrage. Now I know what you're saying, no basic skills, no combo points. No, we're using preparation. So many people use combo points, and I get it. If you put combo points on and you go to Barrage, you can do 8 arrows, up to 20,000 damage. That really increases the damage output. I get that, but look, we're not doing that because the rogue is squishy and I want a Dark Shroud. Okay, so we every 100 energy you spend reduces your trap ultimate skill cooldown by 4 seconds, and it resets everything else. So when you're standing in a mob, throw poison down, start doing imbuement, pop, just spam Dark Shroud as well, pop ultimate, all of that refreshes. Keep going, and with all the cooldown reductions we have, pretty much every like 3-4 seconds. So our ultimate, I think our ultimate's at 37-second cooldown. We got it down to 37 seconds. It pretty much, with all the lucky hit we get, it's instant, 5 seconds at most. So you're popping your ultimate, your death trap, and everything else is refreshing. You're constantly having all your abilities at once. It's just going crazy. I freaking love it. Plus, like, I know, like, if a lot of people have been commenting with other builds, like, oh, like, we need survivability. Trust me, I know. I'm 100. I've been playing the end game. I tried 80s, 90s. Things just one-shot me. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what else I can do. I feel like I have a lot of armor for a rogue. This armor with, where is it? Standing, when you do damage, you get up to 50% armor. I think it's right under 10,000. I'll throw it up here, but our attack power gets pretty high. I think 16,000s, and our armor gets just about 10,000. And then 46% damage reduction, along with 30%, just about 30% close, 13% from vulnerable, and 13% reduction from trapped. And then all damage reduction is 10%. Like, we have a lot of damage reduction. Now I know what you're thinking, crowd control. This game sucks with crowd control. There's no skill involved. Things just freeze you, stun you, you're done. Nothing you can do about it. And I know a lot of people get the topaz and put 50% crowd control reduction damage on their gear. I know the 4% life only goes off the base, but it gives you like an extra 2,000, 2,500, I forget what it is. I go with that because the life is there all the time, and this is a range build, so you can roll out of the crowd control for the most part. And when you get hit, if you have your Dark Shrouds up, pretty much you can tank through it by the time you run out. And the only problem I have with the aspect of being unstoppable for 4 seconds is you got to get down to injured. And even then, when you're playing higher tiers, like things just 1 or 2 shot you. So the chance of you getting down and be able to spam your potions and get out of there for 4 seconds is pretty low. And on top of that, at most, it's what? The lowest you get is 20 seconds. You got to wait 20 seconds. And these motherfuckers love to chain CC you. You will get frozen, then you'll get stunned, then you'll get frozen again, and you get poisoned, and you're dead. So that unstoppable really isn't going to help you because you're good for 4 seconds, and then guess what? They hit you again with the crowd control, you're done. So that's why I didn't put it on there. Oh man, this build is crazy. Like I said, we had over 400 vulnerable damage before. Critical strike damage is at like 210%. I don't know why I have it on, which one is it? Is it this one? Critical strike damage with core skills. It doesn't reflect on the character chart. So yeah, we have that. Critical strike damage with imbued. Overpowered damage 214, vulnerable 214 or 274, all damage 179. And we've got some, you know, crowd controlled extra damage sprinkled in here, like Salt Bay, you know, got 61, 96 to close, healthy, injured. Now poisoned, I think the glyph is broken. Is it this one? Tracker. So increased damage to poison targets, right? So you poison something, you do increased damage to them. It doesn't increase poison damage. Okay, let's keep that in mind. But when I swapped it out, I lost poison damage on my poison trap. Now this is purely just poison damage, not damage to poison enemies. So I went from like 100,000 down to 71. I was like, is this glyph broken? Because it didn't seem like I was getting extra damage on things I was, you know, affecting with poison. So I think, I mean, there's so many things broken with this game, so I'm gonna just say it's that glyph, that tracker glyph is broken. So instead I went with ambush because enemies affected by trap skills, say poison trap skill. Plus I was only getting like 80% on the poison. I got 106 here. So I went with that. Plus on top of that, affected by trap skills, an extra 10% on top of that. So I went with that. So we used to have like 200%. I think I only had 160% towards poison enemies, but it just didn't seem like it was doing anything. So we got rid of that and went just damage versus trapped. And then we have damage with core, damage with imbued. Now we changed out something recently because we just changed our gear again and we lost 15 strength. So you're losing 15% imbued skill, but once you hit 100, you can craft Chorus of War incense and get 40 to all stats. You'll get your 15% back if you want it. Pop those. They're not too crazy to make. So anyway, there's that. And yeah, but anyway, man, like I said, I'm not going to go over all the stats I have. I'll go over the aspects. You can look at the D4 to see exactly what I have, but this ancestral unique, you gain 25% increased lucky hit chance. Okay, so the main thing of this build is we don't have a basic. Okay, we don't use it, so we have to have really good resource management with Barrage, and our resource is at 140. All right, 140. So we're getting, let me go over all my resource. All right, we have, of course, go hits 5 or more enemies. I did have a 40%, but the stats were dookie, so we went 35%. Our barrage is, I believe, 21 per cast is what we have it down to. Okay, we have, I think, 20 some percent resource cost reduction somewhere, so we're at 21. Okay, we save 35%. Now we throw 5 arrows and then our arrows ricochet and have a chance to go into 2 arrows after that. So you're pretty much, unless you're fighting a 1 target, which by the way, this build is not the greatest when you're fighting 1 target or a boss per se, because the bosses aren't getting frozen, they're not getting dazed. You can stun them if you hit them with enough, obviously, but you're also not exploding them with shadow damage and getting resource back. So your ultimate doesn't refresh as fast as it should. So Uber Lilith is going to be a pain in the butt. I'm trying to put Barrage on the map, but it's just, when you're using a rapid fire and penetrating shot, that's just, you're just machine gun, like you're just wrecking stuff. Yeah, so anyway, it's possible to do like bosses and single targets. You just kind of gotta, if you do run out and your skills don't reset, you just gotta kite a bit and let it get back up. So anyway, we get 35% back, right? So that's 7. So we're going down to only costing 14 to cast Barrage. Okay, now on top of that, there is a glyph, which I think it's this one. Skills that critically strike restore 12% of their energy cost. So 21, you're looking at 2, okay, around 2.1, 2.2 maybe. So we're down to 12 per cast of Barrage if you get all your procs. Okay, now we have 140. You're looking at like 11 straight shots of Barrage without the resource regeneration every second for 8. And then when we kill shadowed enemies, that's 20 per kill. And then when we pop our ultimate, that's 75 back every time we pop our ultimate. So you're pretty much always at full resource when you're fighting mobs. Like I said, single target, not so much, not the greatest, but it's so satisfying in the mobs. But anyway, let's go over the aspects. Okay, 25% lucky hit chance, huge. Okay, huge, because that's going to get our cooldowns to proc. You'll see, I'll throw up a clip here of our cooldown. Like literally we pop it and we hit everything, and within like 3 seconds it's already reset. 37 seconds, we don't have time to wait for that. So that's huge. I have this is huge for, I feel like, any rogue. Upon taking damage from surrounding enemies, you drop a smoke grenade and dodge the next 7 attacks within 10 seconds. It can only happen every 45 seconds, but that's fine, okay? Because you're gonna roll through enemies, or enemies gonna come up to you, they're gonna hit you, you're gonna drop grenades, stun them, and then you're gonna dodge 7 attacks. So you can stand there, get your inner calm, and just blast them with arrows and just suck them with the trap and blast them. And they're not gonna touch you. It's great. I had the butcher come out one time. He like came up and hit me with the freaking chain, and I got this aspect went off, and then he hit me 7 times. Nothing, no damage, just wrecking him with the arrows, just standing there and trapping him and just going ham. Like it's a godsend. So I have that. I've changed things around so much. I don't have the best rolls for these. Lucky hit, 50% chance. Is the best it can be for crowd control effects to spread to another unaffected enemy. You can see, I mean, everything happens so fast, but like when you slow it down, you can see daze, because we have one of these is 45% chance to daze enemies. So when you daze and your arrows are going everywhere, that daze just spreads and they're all just standing there. It's great, man. I love it. You gain increased armor, 0.5, this maxed out, so 50% armor, that's huge. And with poison trap, whenever poison is ticking, it just skyrockets at and it stays up there. So you're pretty much always going to have around 10,000 armor. We got the daze aspect. I've switched this around a lot. I had, before I put on the exploit glyph, which gave me, you know, when you deal any type of damage to an enemy, it gives them vulnerable for, I think it's 3 seconds. I had lucky hit to where you hit direct damage to an enemy affected by a trap, gives you a 100% chance to make them vulnerable. I was using that for the longest time and I got rid of it. It is good because when exploit runs out after the 3 seconds, you gotta wait 20 seconds before you can hit that enemy again and make them vulnerable, and they're gonna be dead long before that. So when that would run out and I had the 100% on, even though it was a lucky hit, it would still make them vulnerable again. And since we're banking on vulnerable damage, it was good. But I was like, I feel like with daze and the other crowd controls, and we can kill them in 3 seconds, that I'd rather put some more damage buffs on there. So I wish I had 40%, Don't anymore. Got the 38. Increased damage based on your available primary resource. And like I said, that primary resource, we have so many things to keep that high, even though we don't have a basic skill, that you're pretty much always going to get that 40% buff. And I was thinking about taking the imbuement skill, making that 80% increased potency against vulnerable enemies, but I was like, well, this is anything, imbuments and traps. So when I pop the ultimate, that also will get 40%. So I felt this was better. If you want to tweak things, go for it. So I have that on the two-handed crossbow, of course, for the vulnerable damage. Now I have deal 10% increased damage for each second you stand still, up to 30%. And I have the emeralds on for critical strike damage to vulnerable enemies, because we love that. Yeah, so this is big. 3 seconds, you get an extra 30%, so you're getting 70% extra damage off of those two. And like I said, with popping Dark Shroud, and when you pop your ultimate, all your cooldowns refresh, so you are always popping Dark Shroud. You're always pretty much going to have that 46%, so you can stand still and just tank and melt stuff. It's so satisfying. If you see my other Barrage builds, you've seen that I've taken this Arrow Storm out and put it back in, take it out, put it back in. It's here to stay, because with our increased lucky hit, there's just arrows raining down everywhere, and it's just extra damage. Plus, if it hits an enemy that we haven't gotten to yet that's far out, it'll make them vulnerable, and then our barrage will go and spread to them, and it's good stuff. Obviously, Mother's Embrace. Not too happy with the stats that are on it, but with that and the helm, we get an extra 34% lucky hit chance, which is huge. Obviously, the imbuement skills have up to a 40% increased potency, and this one for Barrage's arrows have a 38% chance to split into 2. That's big. You want that with Barrage. We have energy cost reduction, cooldown reduction, crowd control duration, 15% damage. So like I said, all these they're on D4 planner. Specialization, obviously preparation, we need that. Let's go over the skill tree real quick. I've changed this around quite a bit. You have to have 2 points into a basic, whether it's here and here or just both there. We're not using it. Barrage, we have up to 9. Now if we get the Shaco, we get all of our other abilities +4. We're going to lose our lucky hit, which I don't think we can really do, but that shock would be nice to get an extra boost. I had this up to like 12 to 14,000 at one point, and we were doing more damage, but this is what we have right now. It's just more consistent. So Barrage, Enhanced Barrage, and when it ricochets at least 4 times, you get 20% increased critical strike chance, so it puts us at 70%. Huge. I've got 2 ranks of Sturdy, and I've got 2 ranks of Siphoning Strikes, so when you're pulling everything and you're killing it right in front of you, it just, your life skyrockets up. It's really good to just tank through things. So yeah, then going down here, the only thing we have is Weapon Mastery, increased critical strike damage. Now there is a bow, I think it's called like Wind Force or something. It's an Ancestral unique, has a 20% lucky hit chance to deal double damage and knock back enemies. Now I don't like the stats on it, doesn't really fit the build, but I wouldn't mind trying it just to see how much that double damage would proc, because if we can get double damage on Barrage, I'm pretty sure that would mean all 5 arrows would do double damage. And if we're seeing 300 to 600,000 per hit once we get everything laid out, if we can do 6 to over $1 million off of double damage, I think it might be worth looking into. So if anybody has one, wants to swap it out and try it, one day I'm sure I will, but I think that would be a viable option. I'm gonna go down. I've got 1 point into Dark Shroud. I've got 3 off the pants. I wish it was 4, but you know the rolls. You can go 30 hours and not get any equipment that's better. Shit rolls like it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. So we're stuck with 3 instead of 4, but we're still getting 46% damage reduction. Obviously enhanced Dark Shroud, and I have 20% movement speed. If you want, it's just nicer to be fast and move around, okay? Versus you could get 8% critical strike chance, which puts you at 78%, okay? And then on top, you got this 9% increased critical strike chance imbued, so it puts you at 80, what, like 86, 87? I don't even know anymore. Like your critical strike chance is high, all right? So I was like, movement speed's fine with me. I knocked Poison Trap down to 1 because it was lasting 12 seconds. I was doing like 140,000 damage over those 12 seconds, and I was like, you know, they're dead before that even matters. So I was like, let me knock it down to 1. The main thing you're getting here is the 30% chance to reset your imbuement skill cooldowns, which is huge, and you're almost 1.9 seconds of knockdown. So the biggest thing with that is you knock them down and you can reset your imbuements. So knock them down and then just spraying, freeze them, shadow, boom, explode, dead. Get out of here. So I have enhanced poison trap, and then obviously countering poison trap. I'm not using that one because, yeah, don't need it. Going down here, we've got 5 into shadow imbuement, enhanced shadow imbuement, and this is 15% increased critical strike chance against injured enemies infected by shadow, which again, another 15% is just wild. And then blended, the explosion, when you kill an enemy that's shadow imbued, they just explode, and it makes enemies vulnerable for 2 seconds when they get splattered with that old dark nasty juice, you know what I mean? So anyway, when I have shadow crash, which I just put 1 point so I could get to this consuming shadows. For the longest time I was running 3 ranks, so I gotta have 30 energy. 20 is good. If you want to knock it down to 10, go for it. If you want to spec another point into something else, but I think 20 energy is pretty solid for that. I've got 3 into precision imbuement here, which is 9% increased critical strike chance with imbued skills. I've got 5 in the cold. At one point, I had an extra 4 ranks of shadow and cold on my, I think it was my helm, before I switch out for that lucky hit one. And I see a lot of people like, oh, you only need 1 point in both of these, but I disagree, because I had my shadow damage here. It was at like 14 to 16,000, I don't remember, and it seemed like things were just melting quicker. They were exploding more often and harder hitting. They were just I don't know how to explain it. It just seems like the more shadow damage I pumped into this imbuement, the more they were just exploding like crazy. So more shadow damage isn't bad if you want to run that on one of your gear sets. But I have that, and then at one point I knocked this down to 1, and it was 25%, and it was taking 4 hits, and it just felt like they weren't freezing as fast as I was used to. And at one point I had it, I think it was 45% per hit, and it was still taking, 2 hits, you're at 90%, so they're not frozen. You still take 3 hits, and I was like, all right, let me bump it down to 35, because that's still 3 hits to freeze them. Same thing. I'm happy with where that is. And obviously I have enhanced cold imbuement, because this can make them vulnerable even more on top of what we have. And I have mixed, deal 20% damage to crowd controlled enemies, so our days. So when you're doing cold imbued and you hit them when they're dazed, you just 20% more. I know a lot of people spec into these, I just don't, So anyway, down here, ultimate, I've got when poison trap or death trap activates, you gain 12% increased critical strike chance against vulnerable and crowd controlled enemies for 4 seconds, which we're always popping our poison and death trap with. It's wild. So you're always getting an extra 12%, which is huge. Okay, so we have death trap, obviously, prime death, suck them in, supreme death, which if it kills them, cooldown's reduced by 10 seconds. Awesome. I have aftermath, so we get 75% energy every time we pop the ultimate. And then for our passive, I am running exposure. Lucky hit, dealing direct damage to an enemy affected by trap skills, 25% chance to reduce the active cooldowns of your trap skills by 20%, and drop a cluster of exploding stun grenades to stun enemies. I tried victimize. It didn't really seem, because the shadow damage already like explodes, and this does an explosion. It didn't really seem like it was doing much. I know a lot of people run precision when they're running the combo points of Barrage, but this, we kind of need the cooldown reduction. So yeah, sorry, I know freaking these builds get kind of crazy. It is what it is, but look, Paragon board, I have this. I'm just gonna go over the glyphs. I have chip here, 70 dexterity, 92.4% physical damage, and you can deal 1 up to 10% extra damage for 15 seconds. That makes Barrage hit so much harder. Coming up, I have no witnesses, so when our ultimate goes off, we're getting an extra 10% damage for 20 seconds, and we can pretty much spam the ultimate like every 3 to 5 seconds when we're in a mob, so you're always going to have an extra 10% boost with no witnesses. I have combat here. I think I got 1 level to go. I just need like probably 2 more nightmare dungeons that'll be maxed out, so it'll probably be like 86-87% critical strike damage. And skills of critical strike restore 12% of that energy cost. Great, so we have that there. And then going over here, we have Deadly Ambush, 23% increased critical strike damage, enemies affected by your trap skills. Great. I have the Ambush, so enemies affected by trap skills take 10% increased damage, and then you do 106.9 extra damage. Then going over here, I have Exploit Weakness, 1 to 15% increased damage to vulnerable enemies. I am running the Infusion, 145.5% imbued skill damage, and casting imbuement skill reduces the active cooldown of another random imbuement skill by half a second. That's big. And then running down here, the bread and butter, Exploit. Everybody runs Exploit at this point, you know, so we don't get a lot of vulnerable damage off this. There just wasn't a lot of strength nodes left down here, but anytime you touch an enemy, they get vulnerable for 3 seconds. So, you know, great. It's good stuff. And now, like I said, this one, I lost some strength, so you're gonna have to pop that incense if you want an extra 15%. I believe it'll put imbuement skill damage at it's at 182, so it'll put 197% when you pop that. And then I came down here and grabbed the non-physical and the cooldown reduction, and that's the Paragon board. I mean, we just didn't have enough to go down there, but I mean, all in all, it's not a bad build. I'm pretty happy with it. I guess at one point we had more attack power. It didn't really seem to do anything. You just got to pump most of your stats to around like 200% and just hope for the best, man. But like I said, it's a couple things you could probably change, some aspects you want to change around. I've changed everything. I've done multiple things. It's been so much. I'm gonna throw out some more clips of me just doing some dungeons. You can easily clear 50 is a cake, like it's so easy. 55 easy, up to 60 still easy, like you can just breeze through it. Once you start getting to 70, 80, you're gonna have a bad time, but I feel like that's most people. Like, this game is just super brutal when you start getting to the higher tiers, and you don't get anything like there's no higher drop rate, there's no anything crazy, you don't get like rewards, you just get a little bit more XP, and like by the time you get to 100, all your glyphs are maxed out that you want anyway. But anyway, boys, sorry for the long video. You know the drill. Subscribe, come back, let me know if you like this build, let me know if you would change anything. I mean, like I said, I've been tinkering with this thing for weeks now. I'm pretty happy with it. Hopefully I can beat Uber Lilith. I don't know. I'm trying to put Barrage on the map. It's just not that great against a single target, but I feel like with dodging her mechanics, I'll have time to get away and rebuild some energy, and I think it might be all right. But anyway, boys, see you on the next one.